speaking, please turn your mics on tonight. And for anyone who's coming to the podium, just remember to speak into the mic for us and make sure we can all hear each other, so it helps a lot. All right, well, let's go ahead and get started. Start by reading the statement of purpose. Mr. Bennett.
May our decisions today be made with wisdom, careful deliberation, and in the best interest of the city of Diamond Head. May we display patience and kindness in our dealings with each other and all who are in attendance, and may any decisions made today promote the health, safety, and welfare of the citizens of Diamond Head and the enhancement of the city as a whole.
Thank you. If you wouldn't mind, let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Scott?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. And if we go and do a roll call.
Commissioner DeBro,
Present.
Commissioner Cook,
Present.
Commissioner Nico,
Present.
Commissioner Bennett,
Present.
Commissioner Lael,
Present.
Commissioner Brewer,
Present.
Chairman Flowers.
Okay. Do we have any adjustments to the agenda tonight? None?
None from
No.
staff.
All right. Let's go ahead and have the approval of the minutes from the last meeting.
Do a confirmation of the agenda first.
Okay. So let's go ahead, just
A
no roll
motion.
call. Just-
Motion to
we need a
confirm.
motion and a second on the agenda.
Second.
Motion to adjust the agenda
Confirm
to
it.
confirm it.
Yeah.
Ginger made the second.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed, nay? Approval of minutes for last meeting. Need a motion to approve the minutes.
Motion to approve the minutes from the last meeting.
Second
Second.
that motion.
All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay? All right, let's go to new business. Our first item on the agenda is J. White Homes LLC, represented by Mr. Jason White. He's filed an application requesting a variance for the zoning ordinance, Article 4.19, to allow the construction of a single-family residence within 9 feet 3 inches of both side yard property lines. The property address is 982 Ala Place. The tax parcel number is 067J-1-36-054-000. The property is in an R2 zoning district. The side yard setbacks are 10 feet. The variance requested is 9 inches on each side yard total for a total of 1 feet 6 inches. The case file number is 202200464. Gentlemen?
All right. This case came before us. Mr. White has been working quite a while on building this house, or putting it together here. And the house he wants to build for that particular lot, he is a custom builder here in Diamond Head, and the house he wants to build requires a variance. He wants to build a brick home there as opposed to a hardy siding home. And it requires a variance of 9 inches on each side for a total of, the side yard variance now is 10 feet. It used to be 8 feet. So he's requesting a variance of 9 inches on each side for the side yard variance, total of 1.5 feet total. Okay?
Mr. White?
Thank you. Once again, my name is Jason. I'm the owner of J. White Homes. I am applying for the 9 inches, and the reason for that, I started working on this property, designing the house. I was in the acquisition of 2 lots, the 98, the one that we're talking about, and the one across the street. We got delayed, the acquisition, because of the seller had some unforeseeable issues, so that delayed our process. I was starting to work and adjacent with that to get the plans ready so I could start construction. You might say, why do that? But it just takes so much to get a house off the ground. I'm just kind of giving you a little background. You know, you got to get these plans designed. You got to try to start ordering this building material because of COVID. You got to get these windows ordered, 6 months out, or if you start ordering once you turn the plans in, you're dead in the water. So I was kind of working behind, ahead. End up the owner of the property getting sick, so it delayed it. I moved on to some other projects. Came back, and in September 7th, 2021, they changed the code from 10 feet to 8 feet. So that's kind of made a little issue with the house that I designed for this house. I build brick homes in Diamond Head, like you mentioned. So I just find it's more aesthetics. It is going to fit in with the neighborhood. I own that lot that I'm working on trying to build a house, a lot across the street. I purchased a house on the lot on the corner. I built a house on 9812 Anahula Street, and my vision is to put brick homes in there. I build very nice homes, and I think it's going to fit in very nicely with that area by having brick. If I remove the brick ledge, my brick ledges are normally 5 inches on each side. So that would be 10. I'm asking for 9. I'm going to get my survey to GPS the points. I'm just giving me a little bit freeboard room why I'm asking 9. I'm not going to try to take the 9. I just need but this lot is not a square lot. And when I'm pulling lines, I want to have a little room for error. I don't want to have to come back if I do get approved. Hey, I'm an inch over. That's why I'm asking for the 9 to just give a little freeboard. But Crosby's gonna GPS my coordinates, put them in there, put me some pins so I can drop my form boards if I get approved. So that's the reason why. I don't know if you'll have any other questions or concern. I'll be glad to answer them.
You guys have any questions for Mr. White? Okay. Thank you.
Public.
Mr. Ryan? Would you like to speak at this time? If you would, give us, state your name when you get to the mic and your address, please.
My name is Alan Ryan. I live at 92 Pawaco Street, which is one street over from where Mr. White would like to be building. I'm relatively new in Diamond Head. I've been here, I guess, 17 months now, something like that. Obviously, first-time owner here in Diamond Head. I am concerned about the variance that's been requested. I think the zoning criteria that have been set are reasonable and should be held to. I think that the criteria changed from 10 feet back to 8 feet was done for a reason. I wasn't here when those decisions were taken, but I assume they were taken for sound reasons that I think should be abided by now. I'm perfectly happy with building houses in Diamond Head. That's not a concern for me. I simply think that the builders and developers should build within the constraints that Diamond Head has laid out as being reasonable for the entire city of Diamond Head.
All right. Any questions for Mr. Ryan? Yeah. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. Pat, you want to?
Yes, I'll give the staff a recommendation. There are some items that we must answer the question yes to when granting a variance. So I'm going through each of those items, and I'll tell you on the front end, the staff is recommending to approve the variance as petitioned. And I'll go through each of the questions. That special conditions and circumstances do exist which are peculiar to the land, structure, or building involved, and which are not applicable to other land, structures, or buildings in the same district. As mentioned earlier, the lot is irregular shape with a front on the cul-de-sac and narrows towards the rear. Okay, so you kind of have to push the house back to accommodate for the cul-de-sac and this 20-foot setback, but it narrows towards the rear, so you're running into that problem, fitting it in with the 10-foot setbacks on each side. that literal interpretation of the provisions of this title would deprive the applicant of rights commonly enjoyed by other property owners in the same zoning district under the terms of this title. When we did an analysis of the surrounding neighborhood, we found that most of the homes in there are brick homes. And of course, we know that brick homes are more aesthetically pleasing, better resale values, make the neighborhood prosper and look good. So I think brick is very important to the character and what we have in Diamond Head, having more of those brick homes. Special conditions and circumstances, if any, do not result from the actions of the applicant. As stated earlier, he started this project in March of 2021. Has some difficulties with closing on the property, gaining title to it. And as stated earlier, he is a custom house. So he had designed this house with the 8-foot setbacks in place that were in place in March of 2021. That was changed in September of 2021 from 8 to 10-foot setbacks. So that caused him to ask for the variance there. The granting the variance requested will not confer on the applicant any special privilege that is denied by this title to other land, structures, or building in the same district. The variance, if authorized, will represent the minimum variance that will afford relief and will represent the least modification possible of the regulation in use. The variance does observe the spirit of the ordinance. The variance will observe the spirit of the comprehensive plan, and that the variance requested will not result in any changes in use or density of this subject property. To summarize, the applicant is a custom home builder who began this proposed build in March 2021 when the side yard setbacks were 8 feet. Okay. The building plan is for brick exterior, which encroaches on the revised setback of 8 feet. The brick exterior enhances the look of the neighborhood and adds value to the surrounding properties. Therefore, we recommend approving the variance as requested. Questions?
Commissioners, any questions? Okay. Any further questions, you gentlemen? If you could step to the mic.
The changes that occurred, shifting the borders, I suppose, from 10 feet to 8 feet. Could someone please give me a little bit of the history on that and why it changed in one direction and then was changed back to the other direction?
One of you gentlemen assist us with that.
This, I'm going to defer to Mr. Jones on this. He has better knowledge and history of this than I do.
All right. How we got here was when Elliott Homes first came to town, and they started designing and thinking about Diamond Head Lakes, all phases, all 1 through 7. And so then Kenny Jones came to Mr. Russo and myself saying, like, based upon the houses they were going to do, that they would be better suited for 8-foot setbacks, would get more house, etc. And so, well, in essence, we changed it. The city changed it. And then what happened after that, in retrospect, we realized we were better off with 10-foot setbacks than 8. And so that's why we went to it. When we first got it, it was to accommodate Elliott Homes specifically, and their planning. And so to this day, because the sketch plans that were approved, 1 through 7, they will continue to have 8-foot setbacks in Diamond Head Lakes. Yeah, so that's how we got there and then got back.
But that's the only place that's essentially approved for that, and then everything else would be a variance if they wanted to defer from a 10-foot, right?
That is correct. It's that and Preserve Phase One, both
Yes.
have that.
Okay.
Were they gonna be putting their cottage homes there? Was that the idea?
I don't think that was the
No,
idea.
it wasn't.
I think it also had something to do with, if I remember correctly, it had something to do with drainage. Because if you had the 8-foot setback, then it was, you had 5-foot drainage easement, and we're trying to keep the mud and all out of the drainage easement. So if you have a 10-foot setback as opposed to a 8-foot setback, you've got those 2 additional feet there that you have to worry about it getting into the drainage. You can set up your silt fencing and all to keep that from getting into the drainage. So
When they started, when the Elliott Home started, they were into low-impact development for drainage. And that lend itself greater to that. And however, you can see that in Deer Crossing and the median, et cetera. But the other phases, they're not thinking about that. More traditional, typical drainage for subdivision.
Thank you.
All right.
Could I ask, is it reasonable not to consider drainage?
She considered-
that's an easy question, but I don't understand your question. Of course
Yes,
you'd consider drainage.
If this variance is approved, how will this variance affect the drainage on those lots?
9 inches, I don't see it affecting the drainage on the lots, 9 inches on either side. Now, if we were talking about a 5-foot on either side, that would be a different story. But because of the minimal amount being requested, I don't see how that will affect. Because you come down off the lot at 3-to-1 slope, something like that. So, and then it goes into the drainage easements to carry the water there.
And the proposed variance is not encroaching on that drainage easement.
Not at all.
So the drainage easement that is required is still there.
And I can help answer. I don't know how, but
Microphone, please.
concern of the drainage, we're not looking, I'm not doing nothing crazy where I'm bringing in a lot of fill. Just off of the survey, we're looking, the back corner graph is 91. The front part is 90. So let's just explain that for a second. Y'all don't know what I'm talking about. So I'm not having to I'm going to use a 2x12 and bring in a little dirt. So I'm not bringing in 3 feet of fill. If I had 2 feet, 3 feet of fill, it may be a concern of issue. I'm a responsible builder. I'm going to put gravel down. They could attest, the inspectors. I bring in bales of hay. I build silt fence. I do the bales of hay. I do those wallows. I'm responsible. I go beyond because I want to be respectful. I had my personal property flooded due to a homeowner's pool. I don't want to do that. It's all about taking the right procedure, spending a little bit money up front, and keeping the neighbors happy. I get along with the neighbors. I'm out there on the job. I introduce myself to the neighbors to try to keep everything. If there's an issue with any of my guys working, contact me. Don't contact them. I'm going to address it. So this, I don't foresee an issue because we're not talking a whole lot of field. The property's pretty level. It's going to be minimum dirt, and that's what took me to this lot. It was cleared. And knowing Diamond Head, it was a good property. That's why it took so long, is because it doesn't drop off where you have those traditionals. And I'm not talking about builders, but everybody knows the elephant in the room where they brought a lot of dirt, and that's going to cause problem. You're changing the elevation but this is not really changing it to address his issue. I don't feel that it's going to cause a problem to the neighbor. I wouldn't want to do that. I built the house. And I'm still in contact with the people that I built, so I don't want to put shed water on their property. I'm going to make the right drainage to go make it, down. the property line.
And if I could add to that just a bit, and since, Mr. Ryan, you're a new resident here, I'll give you a little what has transpired in the last 2 years. And that is, we passed a fill limitation policy, where you can only bring in a sufficient amount of fill to bring the house up to, what is it, a foot above the center of the road. So we've reduced the amount of fill coming in, which will help with the drainage. So you're not getting the siltation going from the house pad drainage in the yard. We require the fences there. We monitor them and issue stormwater violations to the builders when they are not in compliance or their siltation has fallen down. If they encroach upon the easements in any way with fill, we require them to move that. So that is something over the past 2 years that the building department has concentrated on, and our council has passed a legislation to give us that authority to make sure that those ordinances are followed there. So that just gives you a little background to address your concern about that, and I understand your concern.
All right.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. You have anything further, Mr. Ryan?
No, sir.
All right, I appreciate it. Thanks for coming. All right. Let's go ahead and entertain a motion to approve the variance as written and forward to the council.
I'll make a motion for the variance request of 9 inches as stated in the agenda.
All right, got a motion. Do we have a second?
I second the motion.
All right. We need a roll call vote on this?
You wanna
No,
have
just
any further
discussion.
amongst yourselves, and then we can do the roll call. And it's up to you.
Anybody else have any questions, comments? Okay.
We need a roll call?
It's up to you.
Yeah.
It's up to y'all. You can
You-
either call it or have a roll call.
Let's go ahead and do a roll call for the record.
Commissioner DeBro,
Aye.
Commissioner Nico,
Aye.
Commissioner Brewer,
Aye.
Commissioner Cook,
Aye.
Commissioner Lael,
Aye.
Commissioner Bennett,
Aye.
Chairman Flowers.
And so, just for the applicant and the resident, so this is a recommendation to the city council. The next city council meeting is a week from today,
The
And-
15th.
yeah,
15th.
15th, and so they will make the final decision based on the recommendation of this commission.
So you're also welcome to comment. Jason, you would need to sign up for that particular one so that you can make your case before the council there. And also the public is allowed to comment just like you did here. The council imposes a 3-minute restriction for public comment. Jason, I don't think you'll be under that restriction, so don't worry about that. Okay.
Not that my lack of concern, I just have a scheduled out-of-town meeting, so it's not by any lack of concern of the issue, but
And we
to
can-
address his concern, once again, I'm gonna be responsible and make sure that if you do approve it, that I'm gonna make the drainage properly.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right, moving on to the next item on the agenda. Hasselvander LLC, represented by Brian Hasselvander, has filed an application requesting a variance from the zoning ordinance, Article 4.19, to allow the construction of a deck within 15 feet 6 inches from the rear property line. The property address is 3416 Luma High Place. The tax parcel number is 131M-2-11-050-000. Property is in a R2 zoning district. The rear yard setback is 20 feet. The variance requested is 4 feet 6 inches. The case file number is 2022-00466. Rich?
Oh, my turn? Okay. Mr. Hasselbounder came to us with the, to allow this cantilever deck to be put on the rear of the property. And a portion of that deck, a very small portion of that deck, would encroach upon the 20-foot setback in the rear. So he's asking for, 4 feet 6 inches, I believe is what it is, for variance on that.
Okay. Mr. Hasselmander, would you like to
I sure would.
speak?
I started this project. First thing I want to say, thank y'all for listening to me
You
today.
can
Thank
give
you for
us,
taking your time
Just
with me.
state your name for the record.
Brian
as well as the
Hasselvander.
address.
And thank y'all for taking your time with me today. I appreciate you. I started this project back in, I purchased the property in 2018, and I had the plans drawn in 2019. When I had them drawn, they were for an 8-foot setback. Of course,
Common theme.
on it. But I was fortunate enough to where I could push the house back far enough that the house itself, none of the posts or anything, will be encroaching upon the easement, the 20-foot setback. So the house itself is not. The foundation of the house will be within the limitations of the setbacks. But there's at 21 feet, there's a cantilever deck which protrudes out from the house, and there's no post under it. It just basically hangs out there if you don't know what a cantilever deck is. But it's cantilever. There's no support under it other than the support that's on the building already. Behind the house is nothing but marsh. It won't be encroaching on towards anybody's yards or anything like that. So it's all marsh that is behind the house. It's not full foot all the way across the back of the house. It's only 4 foot and it starts cutting off. It's like a pie shape on that. And it starts cutting off it goes from 4 foot to nothing in a short period of time. I think you should be able to see it on that paper right there. So it's a very small part. And it's 21 feet in the air, so it's not like anybody can run into it or anything. The deck, of course, adds value to the house. It makes it where I can come out of that bedroom. Another reason we really wanted the deck on it to be back out is because, I mean, with 21 feet in the air, we got one way out the house if you got a fire. and I'm gonna straight out tell you, I got enough time I can get out there, maybe somebody can get me down from there. But I don't know, it's just something that appeals to me on that. But it won't affect anybody. It won't affect if they had to do anything on the ground. I got 10 foot of dirt, and then I got another 10 foot of water before my property line. So that's the 20 foot. But the pie shape, that gives us when we're building the house, and we have to change. That 2 foot makes a lot of difference. I was just thankful I didn't have to change the whole house to get it, to get it in. And of course, we planned on building this around 2020, and then everybody knows what happened in 2020. And me being a businessman, I got a restaurant and I got a construction business, so it kind of knocked me in the dirt for a little while, so I'm back. So we're trying to get this done, and I appreciate y'all to look at it and then consider it.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mr. Rich?
Okay. All right. You see, we have a theme running with this tonight.
Apparently we do.
Okay.
The 8-foot meeting.
That's right. Well, this is a different 8-foot situation here, I guess. But anyway, the staff is recommending to approve the variances as petitioned. And again, I'll answer the same questions that we did before, but I'll do it in a briefer format this time. Special conditions and circumstances. This lot is a non-conforming lot, okay? It is 50 foot wide at the 20-foot setback and should be 60 foot wide at the 20-foot setback. So it's a narrower lot It's on a cul-de-sac, it's pushed back, and he was able to maintain that except for this little corner right here of the, and that's not even on the ground. That is up on the first floor of the 24 feet up in the air with no post holding it up. Okay. Little interpretation would deprive the applicant. The house has to be moved 13 feet towards the rear lot to meet the 20-foot setback. Had this been a conforming lot, no variance would have been required. It would have been closer to the street, never would have hung out there. Most of the homes on the water on the south side have a deck for the beautiful views that are there. And this is going to be one heck of a view he's going to have there. I don't know if y'all are familiar with the property. And then I will say that a former planning commissioner and former chairman of the planning commission went out there and looked at it and called and says, man, this house is going to be great because everybody should be happy. He's blocking the view of the fuel pumps there at the ship store. So, so that was the only comment I got about it was from him. It won't confer anything, any special privileges. As I said, they have the views. Okay. It is the minimum variance and the least modification possible. All right. Less than 1/4 of the deck will encroach upon the rear setback of 4 feet 6 inches. Will not change the character of the district, will observe the comprehensive plan, and will not result in any change or density of the subject of the property. For all these reasons stated above, we recommend that you approve this and recommend it to the city council to grant the variance as requested.
Thank you, sir. Commissioners, any questions?
I have one, actually.
Yes.
What's the size of the deck?
What,
Am I not seeing that on here, the size of the deck itself?
It's 5 foot, it's 5 foot, 9 inches or 10 inches wide,
Something like that.
and it's, the length of the,
Of the house?
yes. I had that somewhere.
without that deck, I couldn't go out of the bedroom, I'd have to go through the house.
And by the way, this is going to be just a further note, this is going to be a 2-story home. Okay, parking underneath it, because it's going to be 24 foot up. That portion of the deck will not block anybody's view that's on the ground. The house is 2,000 plus square feet. I think the minimum for that area is, 1,200 square feet. So it's adding to the aesthetics of the neighborhood, keeping up with what we want in the south side. It's bringing the south side back.
All right.
Should I shut up now?
Any other questions from the commission?
No.
All right. We'd like to entertain a motion to recommend the approval as written.
I motion to recommend the approval as written.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All right. Tammy, if you wouldn't mind, let's do another roll call vote.
Any more discussion first? Ask if there's any more discussion first.
Any further discussion from
Yeah.
the commission? Okay.
Okay.
I
he's
can read the room
Commissioner
now.
LeGros?
Aye.
Commissioner Nico? Aye. Commissioner Brewer?
Aye.
Commissioner Cook?
Aye.
Commissioner Lael?
Aye.
Commissioner Bennett?
Aye.
Chairman Flowers?
Unanimous.
And so the same applies there. The city council will accept this recommendation at their next meeting next Tuesday, and they'll make the final decision.
All right, next item on the agenda is approval of the 2023 Planning and Zoning Commission calendar. Does anyone have any questions about the calendar, any discussion?
Staff recommends it.
That should raise a few questions. Anyone see any conflicts or anything we need to be concerned about? All right. Can I get a motion to approve the calendar for 2023?
Motion to approve the calendar for 2023.
Second?
I second it.
All right. All in favor? Aye?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion has passed. Is there any
Nope.
unfinished business we need to discuss?
No unfinished business, no public comments.
Any commissioners' comments? Next city council meeting is Tuesday, November 15th. The next planning commission meeting is December 13th, 2022. Without anything further, do I have a motion to adjourn?
Move.
Second?
Second.
We are adjourned. Thank you,
No.
gentlemen.
All in favor? All in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Now.
They were all gonna vote for it.
Okay, okay.
We discussed